Good morning and welcome to our latest introduction to Ascarii and SAP Business One. Today is an introductory presentation just to highlight what is the art of the possible with the solution. And I will stress solution because our solutions from Ascarii are based on SAP Business One, but don't necessarily just consist of SAP Business One. So without further ado, I'll introduce ourselves. My name is Alan Hughes. I'm the Solutions Director at Ascarii, and my role here is to understand your requirements, learn what you're looking to achieve, and then help build a solution that will help you achieve what you're looking to get to. So we've been going since 2013 as an SAP Business One Gold Partner. We were an SAP Business One Gold Partner within the first 6 months of trading, and the difference between ourselves and many other SAP Business One partners is that the vast majority of us are technical. So, for example, our CEO, Stuart Wilson, is actually previously an IT director for a large global automotive components company. He also has a strong background in setting up and maintaining larger SAP solutions around the world. And one of the nice things that he established with Ascarii is that he realized really until only the last couple of years, people in the UK especially weren't that keen on cloud. They were always saying, oh no, I prefer to keep my data on premise. I prefer to keep our servers here. We know where they are. That mood has changed. And because we set the business up as a cloud first thinking company, we're already well ahead of the competition with regards to our knowledge and our technical experience. So I will stress that whilst we're an SAP Gold Partner, we're just as much an AWS partner as well. So we do a lot with AWS. Most of our customers are on our purpose-built cloud platform, which works from AWS data centers around the world. We've got experience of rolling these projects out globally. And we also have a secondary side of the business called Cloud for Partners, which offers our cloud platform to other SAP Business One partners around the world to put their customers into the cloud. And when they don't have the knowledge of the cloud and the infrastructure that we have, that's a service we provide to them as well. And there's around 850 partners of SAP Business One now globally. So that's who we are. From a point of view of cloud itself, more and more people are now demanding cloud. And I'll be very surprised if you as an organization don't use cloud in some way, or at least in your personal life. Anyone who uses Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything in that respect, or the iCloud with any Apple devices they have, and so on, are using cloud whether they're thinking about it or not. And so when you talk cloud, it really only means other people's servers. And it's then again, who are the important people to work with? And we chose to work with AWS because they're number one in the cloud market space by a long way, a really long way. Microsoft Azure are very good, but they still don't have the same capacity for growth and ideas and new products that Amazon continually come out with. So we're proud to have that relationship with Amazon, and we're seen as a moving forwards partner with them. They look at us in a good light. So we've got a very strong working relationship with AWS. One of the great things about cloud is it's very predictable and has flexible billing. So as we as a nation move towards the idea of understanding we're paying monthly costs, I personally use Apple products quite a lot. I've got an Apple Music account, and I don't buy music anymore. I rent it for £9.99 a month. This is becoming the norm, especially with people now starting companies. They tend to be younger people who are starting their own companies for the first time. They're used to this model. It's becoming normal. And so having no upfront costs means you don't have to have a CapEx, and you know what you have to pay every month or quarter or yearly is really useful and easy to budget for. Also, it's scalable. So one of the things I'll show you today when I show you the SAP Business One product itself is that it's available in two database flavors. One is Microsoft SQL, which we all know and love and have used for many years. But for the last few years now, and the majority of people who invest in SAP Business One are now using what SAP term as HANA, which is their own in-memory database. So instead of having data stored on hard drives, everything is in the memory. So this example here, on the left, we have on-premise. So with a calculator that we work out with you, we work out where you are now with the amount of transactions you're doing and so on, and then build and extrapolate that out to at least the next 3 years worth. So on the left-hand side, if you were having a server on-premise, you'd have had to buy a server that can cope with what you're going to be in 3 years' time, but may only use a third of what is actually needed now. So you're wasting money on resources that you didn't necessarily need to buy. With the cloud, we grow that infrastructure as your requirements grow. And that's the key thing. You're not paying money for no return. That's the beauty of the cloud. It's always got a compelling total cost of ownership. A lot of people look at cloud monthly prices and go, oh, that's expensive, but have forgotten the cost of employment, the cost of actually buying tin, and the cost of maintaining it. If you're doing it properly, you should have an air-conditioned, dust-proof room as much as possible. And quite frankly, if it goes wrong, it still takes a length of time to fix, generally. I think the worst I've heard is a week. You know, imagine not being able to do anything on your business system for a week. It would be utterly catastrophic to the way a business is run. So cloud changes that. With a 99.9% uptime, AWS are constantly monitoring their tin in their data centers. And we at Ascarii are constantly monitoring your usage of the infrastructure we have set up for you. So we can actually tell you when a problem is going to arise before it actually does. So that's really something that your peers really like as part of our service. As I touched on, it's very flexible and scalable. So if your requirements are X from day one, but turn to Y next year and then Z the year after, we can scale your platform for your business solution to run on as your business changes and its needs change. It's a complete design and build service that we provide. So very much a case of that we work with you, and we don't just talk about the now. It is understanding where you want to be and where you're going. That's the key driving message here, and that's what cloud helps with. And security-wise, a lot of people historically have always said, oh, well, cloud, I don't know where my data is. Is it safe? Nothing is safer than AWS. It's the highest level tier security level you can have. Governments use this, military use this, banks use this. It's going to be the safest place you could possibly have your data. And even if a whole region blew up with a civil war or anything like that, your data would just instantly be moved to another area around the world. It's protected. And because AWS is global, if you are a business that is either already global or have plans to move into a global region, it's very compliant with all the global regulations for each of those areas. So not only does SAP Business One cover things globally and understands the financial regulations and requirements in China, for example, or Argentina or America or anywhere in Europe or the Middle East and Africa, AWS does the same. So if there's any technical compliance that needs to be addressed, it already is when we're using the AWS platform. And then finally, from a slide deck point of view, just to give you an idea of how widespread we are as a business, and we have already delivered SAP Business One solutions in all the colors marked gold, and also helped other business partners of SAP Business One in those gold areas as well. And you can see our data centers. We have one in the States, we have one in Dublin, we have one in Germany, and we are about to open one in India as well. So the way with cloud is that it makes sense for wherever your users are to log into the nearest data center to reduce latency. These are the sort of things that we take into consideration and build for you, so you don't have to worry about them. So moving into the solution itself, into SAP Business One, this is an example of what the screen can look like. So this is me as Alan logged into a demonstration database, which is just computerized equipment. So it's very generic today. And to give you an idea of what I like to look at when I wake up and log into my SAP Business One solution. So straight away, I have some key areas that I want to highlight. So straight away, I can see sales are up, gross profit margin is up, and year to date, it's looking great. However, it's actually gone up, but it's not where I expect to be. And also our stock value's gone up and our customers aren't paying us. So these are visual stimulus to actually be able to drive down into these and actually start to analyze why. What we also have are some common functions. So instead of going into the menu here with the burger icon or going up to modules and selecting where I want to go, these are the things I do commonly. So if I always want to create a sales quotation, I just click on sales quote and it will start it. And I'll show this to you a little later. What I also have is my recent updates. So if I get disturbed, called away to a meeting, I go home occasionally, I'll go out for lunch or anything in that respect, anything I was working on that's unfinished, I can click on any of those and bring them straight back up to my screen without having to go and find them. These are time savers that make a huge difference to the way a system is worked with. Also, because SAP Business One has a full workflow and alerting system in here, we can send messages to one another. We can get the system to generate alerts to key individuals in a business as well. So if someone changes a bank number, if that's one of your concerns, we can put an alert to come up so that appears at a manager level. This bank account has changed. Is that right? So you're starting to manage by exception. You're not looking for the problems. The problems are telling you they are arising or have arisen. So it's all about allowing you to have more time to do the more constructive things for your business and for your role. But as well as these sort of displays, we can also have charts and graphs. We can also have things like processes. So here we have one for stock control, we have one for purchasing, one for financials, and one for sales process. Now, this is a great way to help people change from your current solution and your current systems to a centralized business solution. And that's the key thing with SAP Business One. It's one database, one version of the truth. And that allows you as a business to report more efficiently with more relevant data. It's not out of date, and it doesn't have to be a printed report. You can have reports straight on your screen in these sort of dashboards. There's a variety of ways of reporting throughout the system, but the key thing is one database, one version of the truth. Most businesses I speak to still don't have that. They have a central business database, but then they'll have maybe a separate finance system, or maybe a different stock system, or something else, but always a myriad of spreadsheets. And that's where the dangers lie in business, is that who controls that data? Is it accurate? Is there a mistake in the formula within the Excel spreadsheet at all? It's keeping on top of all of that and having one version of the truth is why SAP Business One is now used in over 75,000 businesses globally. And the majority of those are SMEs. So a lot of people make the mistake of thinking SAP is just for the bigger organizations out there, the corporates, the Coca-Colas, the Shells, the people like that. And indeed, they use their bigger products. But 80% of SAP's global customer base are SMEs. They're not those corporates. Although a lot of larger organizations, such as Coca-Cola, are now realizing the benefit of SAP Business One for their new small factories or their new small warehouse locations or small offices, because the SAP Business One solution can also talk to the bigger SAP solutions out there. So if you've got any key customers or key suppliers already using an SAP solution, we can make them talk, but you still control what data flows and in what direction. So you're not passing over everything, but you are getting a better working relationship with both suppliers and customers. So that's one of the strengths we can bring to you as well. But the processes here, as I touch on, we can actually change what's in these blue menus. As you can see on delivery, we can open things relevant to deliveries. So I can check stock status from here. This is a great way of learning the way the new system works without having to going into the menu structure and finding anything to do with stock control and then going into delivery and then going into something related to it. It's a very quick way of allowing people who work specifically in purchasing or sales or finance or anything to do with stock control. They can do it from here. So that's the display as I've got it set up currently on my machine here. And I'm currently logged into our cloud platform on AWS for our demonstration system. So this is not installed on my laptop at all. I can change the look and feel of this though. All I would need to do is go to the pencil and I can move things around. I can make them bigger, I can make them smaller, but I can also add. And the key thing here is that there are around 50 of these, what SAP call widgets, that come with the system. And you can switch on the ones you want and switch off any you don't. You can have more detailed service call information, sales analysis, purchase quotations, and so on, as you can see with various charts giving information in one place. But you've still got the counters here. I love these because I'm very visual. I hate looking at spreadsheets. I like looking at things that tell me in a snapshot, is it going well? If it isn't, I can then drill in and find out what they are. So that although there's around 50 of these as standard with the system, we can teach you at Ascarii how to create your own. And that's the key thing, the key message, well, one of the key messages I'd like to get across to you today is that Ascarii aren't looking to take ownership of this. We want you to take ownership of it. By doing that, you can take ownership of things, little small changes that you want to tweak and make to your system. And this screen layout I have here could be just mine. Every single user you have in SAP Business One can have their own screen layout in the way that suits them. Now, I know we've got customers that have users with entirely different screens for each person. We also have customers out there who actually have a dashboard view like this per department. So it's entirely, again, your choice, and you can decide what works for you. So that's the dashboard, but I touched on it before. This is the HANA version of SAP Business One. So this is an in-memory database. So if I go to the executive search here, now in here, I'm going to type in the name Bill. Now, while it just quickly searches for Bill, what it's doing is creating a Google search of the entire database for every time it finds Bill. Now, when you have data on a hard drive, that can take quite a while. It's already done it. So here we found Bill is in the master data of the system 3 times. He's under what is known as a business partner, and a business partner in SAP's terms means a customer, a supplier, or a lead that can become a customer. So he obviously was either the account manager of one of them, that sort of thing. He was in the chart of accounts, no doubt under salaries. He was in the employee master data. He worked for us. And here he was involved in 523 transactions. So 4 of those were credit memos, 131 AR invoices, and so on. But what I was looking for, because a customer had phoned up and Bill had left the business, for example, is a sales return. So if I click on sales return, it shows me that return. And here we can see it's got the detail, it's closed, it was for microchips. And when I hover above it, it shows you the actual components that were actually returned as well. I can drill into it by clicking on it, and it will go in with the same detail, but this time it will show me in the return screen. And anytime you see a golden arrow in SAP Business One, it's something you can drill into. So I can drill into that customer or the contact person of that customer, or the individual items that were involved in the return, or Bill's details in the system. Very, very clever. And notice, because it's one database, it's also linked to a quotation, a sales order, and a delivery. They're all still linked. So if I right click on this and go to relationship map, it will show me that return and where it's linked to. Now this can explode into different areas, but so a quote can become multiple orders, which can become multiple deliveries, and may have some returns and may have some invoices. That will graphically show you on screen, and I can double click on any one of those and it will load up what I wanted to see. So in this case, this is the original sales order. It's grayed out because it's closed. And that's one of the nice things you'll get with Business One, is that when you actually commit a transaction, you have to reverse it. You can't just delete it. A lot of people move to SAP Business One as their business grows. So if they were using a smaller system, some of those smaller systems allow you to delete transactions, which your auditors hate. So having a proper system like this will certainly please your auditors and should reduce your auditing bill. That's key. You know, some of these things are going to not only be efficiency gains for your business, but also give you hidden benefits that maybe you hadn't thought of. So that's the relationship map. It's one of those nice things that people love within the system, again, if you've got a visual mind. So that's the enterprise search, and you literally can search for anything. So if I pop back in here, switch that one off and just look for the number 1, imagine how many times that would, how long that would take to find on any normal system with the number 1. Well, this is going to take only a few seconds and it will find every single example of where number 1 has been found. So it's just building it all up, as you can see. So we've got analytic content, we've got master data, we've got transactions, we've got stock records, we've got service information. And as you can see, it continues on. Production information, all sorts of things, opportunities, banking, the whole lot. But if I go into any of these, if I go into dashboards, for example, you can see the examples of what they are. And I'll show you some of these in a little while. So the search is really good. If you have someone who works in dealing with customers on the phone, having that open all the time, if that customer phones up, you're just typing in their name, it's instantly bringing up a library of everything you've ever done with that customer, for example. Really powerful. What we also have with the HANA release, and this is not new now, this has been out for 3 to 4 years. This is version 10 of SAP Business One. It was originally launched in the UK in 2003, having been bought from a company that developed it in Israel. And it's progressively expanded and improved with the functionality and the capabilities within that solution. And what you see here is the icons are context sensitive, so they light up as and when you use them. The ones I want to show you are over here. So currently I've got them switched off on my demonstration database, but we can switch these on should they be a fit for your business requirements. So availability to promise, there's the delivery schedule management. Those are things that we can provide within the HANA version. But things like cash flow forecasting. Most finance people and most finance departments who do cash flow forecasting are still doing it in Excel. And that's because it's hard to get the data out of an ERP system. It's always been the most difficult thing, is getting the data back out. But because this is in memory, I can change the timeframes we're looking at. This will actually change the graph as you go. And this is only demonstration data, by the way, so you would normally have more information in here. But you can see down here, we've got, in that time frame, we've got 2 AR invoices, we've got 2 deliveries and so on, and it shows you the figures accordingly. But as a company, you can configure what you want to measure. You can set the criteria you're putting against it. And you can also say what your certainty level is. And all that means, if I go into there, is that I can actually say, well, incoming payments, outgoing payments, and cash accounts are absolutely certain when it comes to cash flow. Sales orders, less so. But I might change my mind and say, well, actually, I think sales orders should be in certainty level 3. I save that, and if the data showed it, it would actually show you a different graph. That's the idea. But we'll never take Excel away from the accounting or the accounts division of any business. So we can export it to Excel, and I'm pleased to say that version 10 of SAP Business One is fully Office 365. I think it's Microsoft 365 is now the new title for it, compliant. So it's got Word integration, Excel integration. We can integrate it with Outlook as well. So there's plenty that we can do, and it all works in the cloud. That's the beauty. You can buy the license there to work in the cloud. We'd advise you on which version you'd need. But cash flow forecasting is now a possibility in system, and you can still spit it out to Excel when you're ready to manipulate any further. But I will stress, SAP Business One, out of the box, is a global product. It's available in multiple languages, currently over about 45, I think it is. It's 29 languages. It's but 45 jurisdictions that it can work in. So if you decided to open up an office in America tomorrow, it would understand the tax rules in America. Likewise with Argentina, it would understand golden tax in China, what's required in Japan and Australia. These are the nice things. This is a true global solution. But not only is it multi-currency and deals with all of that as well, it's multi-company. So if you've got more than one entity in your business, you can run all of your companies on separate databases with the same solution. You're not buying it again and again and again. So an example of this is last year, I sold SAP Business One to a finance arm of a large global business, but they are just the finance element of all of the businesses around the world. They're only using 4 users in SAP Business One, but they're running over 50 companies in it. There's no additional charge for that. That's one of the lovely things of this. This is affordable for SMEs. It's affordable and expandable, and it's very unlikely you'll outgrow it. Whilst we've got people with 4 users, we've got customers with just under 100 users at Ascarii using SAP Business One, no issues at all. But the largest customer for SAP Business One is actually in China, and they've got over 1,000 seats, 1,000 users using it. So it's a very scalable solution. So unless there's a need to do so, it's one of these solutions that will actually stay with you for pretty much the life of most businesses that we talk to. It means you don't have to change every 3-5 years. You don't have to change as you expand. You don't have to change when you add another company. And the ability to do intercompany transactions, to do consolidations for year end or monthly or quarterly results, all available, all very doable with this solution. And I say solution because I don't go in to a business. Granted, I haven't been into a business for a while now with the lockdown. We've been doing this online now for the last 3 and a bit months. And we are delivering projects online and remotely as well. This is something we still can continue to do. The whole idea of the system is that it grows as and when you have those additional entities that you want to add to it. And so it's something you won't outgrow in most cases. And if you do want to actually go to a bigger SAP solution in the future, it's an easier transition. But you'll still probably want SAP Business One in your product set somewhere for some of your companies. So it depends on where you're going to go and what your ambitions are. It can cope with that growth. So that in a nutshell is the look and feel of it. But that cash flow forecasting, there's also something called pervasive analytics. Now, this is where HANA 2.0, which is the latest version of HANA and is now in SAP Business One, is really useful, because this is something we can teach you to do yourselves, but you can create new KPIs. You can base it on existing ones and tweak them. You can create new dashboards. You can create new advanced dashboards. So instead of creating one, I'm going to show you one that we created earlier, probably Peter. And if I open up the hamburger here, you can see these are all the elements within SAP Business One, of which some of these will be relevant to you as a business and some will not. So we have customers who utilize SAP Business One purely for financials and banking and maybe a bit of project management or something in that way. But we would just switch off all the elements that you don't need. So as I'm logged in as an administrator, I have administration available to me. Typically, users don't see that. But in here, I can actually go into each element and switch them off, or I can go into each area and switch off various aspects of that module within the system. So we can even tailor that down to field level. Now that's really powerful, because we can also say whether people can see something or whether they can't. And if they can see something, can they interact with it? And if they do interact with it, can they actually ignore it, or are they absolutely required to enter data into it in the right format? And so we can actually make people use the system properly. One of the biggest things that is always difficult for any system change is getting everyone to do and utilize all the new features. But if we can make mandatory the really key ones, and we only understand that by blueprinting and understanding your business in a more detailed level, we can then help build that system for you to test and ensure that users can't bypass the system. They can't go back to a piece of paper. They can't go to an Excel spreadsheet. They have to fill it in SAP Business One. The more they do it, the more they get used to it. And once they've got used to it, it becomes second nature anyway. But it's helping you gain that control over what people can do and can't do within that system. So I'll leave everything open for now. But these are all of the areas of the business. So just briefly taking you through financials, it's a very strong set of ledgers. So if you're coming from Sage 50 or Xero or QuickBooks, or you've got another ERP system which has a separate or not linked financial system to your other systems, everything you do in SAP Business One automatically updates the ledgers in your finance system. One, that reduces the time it takes to do things. Two, it makes your reporting better. You know, it really does make a huge difference to the way your system works for you. It's approved by the ICAEW. It's a really rock solid set of financials, always has been. It's SAP at the end of the day. They invented, well, there's lots of acronyms in this industry, but they invented ERP in the 1970s, so they get it. They get financials is the rock underneath the whole system. So linked to financials there is an inbuilt CRM engine in Business One. So within here, we can set up what is known as Business Partner Master Data Records, and we'll move this across so you can see it. The Business Partner Master Data is the supplier, the customer, or the lead record is in its entirety, and we'll look at that in a second. But you can set up activities, you can set up campaigns, you can set up opportunities against those prospects or customers. You can create quotes, orders. The Customer 360 is something I'll come to in a minute, because that's the example of pervasive analytics I want to show you as one we've already made. And that can be a customer overall view, a 360-degree view, hence its name, and the reports in there as well. But the CRM is sort of an amalgamation of other bits of the system, but SAP put it under CRM because if you do have people in internal sales or external sales, and that's their job, is to maintain the data here, it's nice to have it in one place. Opportunities is also there, but it's also in CRM. Likewise, sales does a lot. So sales, again, and I'm going to take you in a little while from a quotation all the way through to invoice and then show you the relationship map later. But in here, I can create quotes. Notice there is the blanket agreement facility. Now, blanket agreements are available for both sales and purchasing. So if you agree from your suppliers that you're going to buy X amount of widgets throughout a year and you just call off that order, that's a blanket agreement. Same with sales. If your customers say they're going to buy 100 of your items, they can set that up, or you can set it up for them, and they call off that agreement. So, that functionality is inbuilt. It deals with deliveries, it deals with requests, it deals with everything to do with the finance element as well. You'll find SAP Business One has a lot of document generation wizard capability. So what this allows you to do is create the documents that you want relevant to what you're asking. So lots of wizards in here to help you get from A to B. It's not you having to learn how to do it and remember everything. This is why SAP Business One is liked by so many people and used by so many companies, is because they're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to do their jobs. Recurring transactions, mass deliveries, Dunning Wizard for credit control, all of these things are all in there as standard. Purchasing is exactly the same, but in reverse, as you'd expect. And the screens are very similar and designed to be, because quite often an SME has people who wear more than one hat. So I could be the chief buyer for one company, but I could also help with sales. It's nice to have the same sort of screens so people get used to them. They know where they're looking. Customers and suppliers is exactly that. Banking, we can actually integrate Business One to all of the mainstream banks. So we can start reconciling transactions against each other. We can set thresholds of acceptability. If it's your choice, you could say if it's within £1, just process it. If it's more than £1, stop. Tell me what the issue is, and then I'll address it. So again, managing by exception. There is a wealth of information in inventory, stock control. Out of the box, Business One understands multiple warehouses, including virtual warehouses. So we've got customers who've got one warehouse, but maybe have split it into 4 areas. They're all 4 warehouses in the system, but one of those could be quality. So when things go into the quality warehouse, you can actually say, right, anything that's in there, do not make available to the sales team to view or sell. So only after it's had the rubber stamp of approval that that's reached your quality mark, can it then be issued to another warehouse where it's then visible and can be sold, or can be used if you're using it to produce something else. That's the beauty of it. But not only is it warehouses, it understands bins, it understands any unit of measure that you would care to have. So you could buy in pallets, you could stock in cases, you could sell them as eaches or in packs of 6 or packs of 12. The choice is yours. And that's, again, something we help and understand what your requirements are and help build the system to not only cope with what you need now, but also what you need for the future. So all we do is implement SAP Business One in the cloud on AWS. That's our expertise. So when we do it for other people, we're always learning what they need. So we've got plenty of people in wholesale distribution, plenty of people in manufacturing, plenty of people in financials and project planning, and a variety of different industries. So what might work for them might also work for you. So we'll educate and make suggestions during the blueprinting phase and say, okay, well, you want to do X, but have you considered doing by Y and Z? These are really good things that we can pass back to you as the customer, because you may disagree and actually say, no, we do want it the way we want. That's great, but having choice is always a great thing to have. And having advice of what's worked well elsewhere is also great to have too. So resources, that can be machines, it can be labor, it can be whatever you describe as resources. Production in SAP Business One, I would describe as a standard product as production light. So if you're putting things together, or you just have a simple production process, it's more than what most people need. If you need MRP2, you have various routings, you have a more complicated manufacturing process, we have add-in solutions that plug into SAP Business One in the same language. Now that's key. So SAP Business One is a brilliant ERP solution for SMEs. We know that, the world knows that. However, there are always times when, well, we'd love to do this as well, and it doesn't do it. So what SAP have got is a approved list of developers that work in the same language as SAP Business One. So when it comes to upgrades, their products upgrade at the same time. They're not coding in a different language or on the edge. So every time you do an upgrade, you have to redo all of that coding, which traditionally is what happens or has happened with many products over the years. Not with SAP Business One. It is all about delivering the solution in the same platform so it's easier to upgrade. So instead of taking, if it took 25 days to write that bespoke work on your previous system when you originally had it, if you were upgrading and needed to do that 25 days again, that's expensive. With SAP Business One, an upgrade is normally a 1 to 3 day thing. So it's a lot cheaper, much more cost effective in the long run. But these plugins that we have, there's a variety of things. So in production, we've got fully on board manufacturing from a partner called Boyum. Now, Boyum are one of our main partners. And at Ascarii, we have made the conscious decision, we are not going to use partners that make customers sticky and stay with us because no one else can support it. We only use the large global providers that other Business One partners also use. So the only reason our customers stay with Ascarii is because we're likable and we do a good job. That's the key drivers for us. We want to be friendly, we want to be open, we want to give you the best service and good delivery of that service. When we do that, we have sticky customers, and that's what we are always looking to achieve. So the partners we have, the main ones we have, one is called Boyum, and I'm more than happy to provide information on this to any of you that are interested in seeing or speaking about these afterwards. They have numerous products. They have one called B1Up, usability package. Now that allows us, in all the screens in Business One, you can actually configure the screen to look and feel as you like. You can add fields, you can remove tabs, you can add tabs. But B1Up allows us to even more functionality than that. It allows us to manipulate and configure the core solution without bespoking it. That's the key thing. And again, you can learn how to do it yourselves. You don't have to rely on Ascarii to do that for you. We will if you don't want to learn it, but you can if you wish to. So there's B1Up. There's a print and delivery module, which allows you to send different types and styles of documents to different customers and suppliers in different ways, whether that be email, whether it be printed, whether it be fax, any number of ways you want to send documents of different types to different people. And most people don't use fax anymore, but certain industries still do. But on top of that, they also have full-blown manufacturing solutions. They have full-blown warehouse management solutions, which introduce barcode scanners. SAP Business One understands barcodes, but doesn't come with scanners, handheld scanners. So there are solutions, and the Boyum one isn't the only one that we can talk about with you there. So we can explore and expand the universe of what the solution can do for you. from a financial perspective, we have a partner called Synantics who have a product set called iDocuments. Now, iDocuments historically has always done OCR scanning of your AR invoices, or AP invoices rather, and actually will match those to transactions in SAP Business One, storing that invoice against the transaction in the system. Where it's also improved again is that the OCR engine now isn't just at header level, it's actually at line level. And line level is really powerful because you can have an invoice of hundreds of different lines and it will bring all of those into SAP Business One. And not only can it do the invoices, your purchase invoices, because it's now line level, it can actually allow the ability to go to an email inbox and actually pick up orders from your customers in PDF, actually scan those and drop those as purchase orders in SAP Business One, only highlighting when there's an issue. So the days of having to sit there and just enter invoices or enter sales orders as purchase orders, you don't have to do that anymore. You can free those people up. So they're either people that can do something else, or you just don't need those people in the business anymore because the system can do it for you. And it has machine learning. And this is where SAP are going. Machine learning, the Internet of Things, all of this thing works really well with cloud. And this is the platform that we're building for our customers. So we have a lot of solutions. We also have another key one is BPA, which some of you may have come across before, called Task Center. Now that is ERP agnostic, but from a perspective of the world of SAP Business One and cloud, our working relationship with BPA is second to none. We have in our company, because we're a technically based company as opposed to a sales company, we have that knowledge of the Boyum solutions. We have that knowledge of iDocuments, and especially on BPA. And BPA can, recent projects we've done with that is full integration with SAP Business One, with Salesforce, with EDI. We're about to start one with HubSpot. We're also going to do things with other integrations. Anything you need to integrate to SAP Business One, we can pretty much integrate it. We just need to understand the touching points and where you want it to work. That's it. So if I go into customer and supplier and open up a business partner master data record, now this is an example of what the screen can look like. But if I show you these flags relate to the country that we're dealing with, whether it be a supplier or a customer. So I'm going to a customer here called Maxitech. Straight away, we've got the contact details, all the standard stuff you'd expect, whether they're active, inactive, or advanced. We can explain that further. The account balance, the deliveries, the orders, the opportunities, and there's more golden arrows. I can drill into any one of these by clicking on this, or I can view it graphically as a chart. What we also have are further tabs, and it's your control over what you see and can't see and what you can and can't do here. So straight away, I could have multiple contact people for Maxitech. I could have multiple addresses. I could have a bill to and a ship to, and there could be any number of addresses. Payment terms. What's different for this customer to others? Payment runs, links to your bank. The accounting details, which ledgers it works with. The properties and remarks is consistent throughout the whole system. So wherever you are, there's always a properties and remarks. You can create whatever things you want to record against a customer. And you can also just, a mini word processor, type in anything relevant to them here. And also any attachments. Now that can be at customer level, as it is here, or it could be at transaction level in a sales order or a purchase order or a delivery note. Those documents are stored in a central place in SAP Business One so they can easily be accessed. And because it's cloud, they can all be stored in the cloud as well. But down here, we can also see, you can also view things, whether it be service calls, activities, opportunities, and so on, or I can create them, or I can look at that Customer 360 that I mentioned. So if I click on Customer 360, this time it's going to load the pervasive analytics again for me, but concentrate on Maxitech. So this is only an example. You can create the style and format of this as you want it to be. But what I've got here is the contact details, who the person is. I can look at sales in more detail. I can look at open quotations, open orders, that sort of thing. I can look at order fulfillment, how good we are delivering it. I can also look at receivables. Now, Maxitech are a great customer, but they don't pay their bills. So a growing number of businesses I speak to now want their sales team to be active credit control clerks. And this is something that you can give to your sales team to actually, while they're with a customer, say, why aren't you paying your bills? You know, we love you as a customer and we want to give you this, you know, this new order you're talking about giving us is fantastic and we want to give you a good service, but this needs to be paid before we can deliver that. Otherwise, my finance team are going to say no. What can we do? So it's all about building that relationship with your customers and getting that better relationship as well. That's an example of Customer 360. This, at the moment, the way I'm logged in, I'll create a sales quote for Maxitech. And because I'm in Maxitech, it's already brought that through. In here, I will choose the products. You can actually use user-defined fields or create a list that you can add onto the main screen of the key ones they've ordered before. But if I go in here and say a printer, choose that, I say they're ordering 10 of them. It already knows the cost specific to Maxitech because they can be in price groupings or have their own particular price list depending on what type of customer they are. So in there goes 10. It's already put the dates, posting date in there. It's only a quote, so I don't need a customer reference number at the moment. But if I click add a new, that will add that quote to the system. And then what we'll do is take it through and convert it into a sales order. There we go, that's gone on. So that's now on as a quote, but what I can do here is actually copy it to a sales order. So I'm going to say yes, and if I click add a new, I could make customer reference number mandatory if I wanted to with the B1 usability package. So in there, I put a number, click add, delivery date's missing. See, I've got a red mark and it tells me what's wrong. So I can easily go in there. It's got shortcuts like T for today's date. It told me there, as you can see, the credit limit's been exceeded. If I have the access rights to do so, I can ignore that and carry on as I have. If I didn't have those rights, it would kick me out and say no. So then I can copy that to a delivery. Again, I'll add that in and save that off. And then finally, I'll copy that to an invoice. I could do a return if I want to, but I won't. I'll just go straight to invoice and add that in. And let's put that on there as well. So that's all of that flow of transactions from start to finish there. Right click on here and click on relationship map. There's that relationship as we've just discovered. So I can go back into any one of those as I showed earlier. So it's that one version of the truth. That's the key thing for helping you drive your business, reducing the time it takes to do the mundane so you can do the more interesting and valuable things for your business. There's lots we haven't touched on today, so we haven't gone into stock control and all those sorts of things, but just a quick look on stock item master data. This is where if I go to a stock record, so this office printer, we've got purchasing data, and we can say who our preferred supplier is, the sales data. We can also have stock data. So here's an example of multiple warehouses, what we've got in stock, what's committed, what's on order, what's available, and this can be published to the teams that are looking to sell it. And we can also say if it's a stocked item, a sales item, or a purchased item, or any one of the three. Now, I'm logged in currently via remote desktop. That's how I've connected to the cloud. But with this latest version of SAP Business One, we also have the ability now to actually go into a web client. And this is, they've completely rebuilt SAP Business One from ground up to provide this web client now. So I'm going to log in as myself. I'm going to set the same demonstration company that I was in, click login. Now, because this is web-based and using a browser to access it, it doesn't matter what device you're on at all. So straight away, this is the first iteration of this is aimed mainly at sales type requirements, but purchasing is coming, stock control is coming, financials are coming. So the days of needing a Mac or a PC or this or that are going. You can work this on a phone, you can work it on an iPad or an Android tablet. It doesn't really matter anymore. This is the whole beauty of it. So straight away we have this nice looking tile. So you can see that there's 2 open deliveries, there's no quotes open, there's 1 sales order. We've got sales analysis by row. If I click on this, it will actually build that into a bigger screen for me. And it's got a variety of different charts available. So line drawings here, we've got the charts, we've got the disk here, we've got a heat map, a swimming pool heat map type view. It's really what you want to see it as. And the way it actually works is that it also allows users to actually see the roadmap. And this is the nice thing about SAP Business One. You're not buying a dead product by any means. It has a roadmap well into the 2030s, and SAP make that available to people. You can also influence the direction of the product. So if you as a customer say, oh, I really wish it could do this, I'm fed up, I have to do 2 clicks for this, it's really silly, why can't it just be one? Tell SAP. If more, if enough people actually tell them this, they build it into future releases. So you wouldn't get it straight away. And that example I just gave, we could probably do that with Boyum anyway. But it's anything that you do think needs changing, you can suggest it to SAP, and they do listen. They do take what's most important, but they do actually act on what their customers ask them for. And there's an inbuilt user guide as well with it. So all nice and easy to use. You see, we've got quite a number of Boyum B1 up and print and delivery configurations on top of our demonstration system. But this is something that's going to grow, and this is going to be the future of the solution, because ultimately you won't need remote desktop anymore. You may want to use that if you're in an office or you're at a home office and you don't want to go on the web browser. But as this keeps getting better and more functional, this is going to be the future of this product. But as a product, it's brilliant, but it's not the end. And this is how I'd like to close today. It's not the end solution. The end solution is finding out what you as a business require, and then importantly, ensuring that we've chosen and carefully selected whatever aspects can also plug into Business One, either now on phase 1 or in a future phase that's going to give you huge return on investment and make your lives easier. The whole point of a business system, especially with one central database like SAP Business One, is to make your lives easier and to help you make better business decisions. That's key, always has been. And from our point of view at Ascarii, that's what we deliver. We're not going to just deliver a product and then run away. We are entering into a partnership with you in the way that we find a solution that fits your requirements exactly, hiding any aspects you don't need. So if you don't produce anything, we just don't show the production side. If you don't hold stock, we don't show you the stock. But if your business model changed in the future, or you started a new company that did, it's already there. So we just then configure it and switch it on. More than happy to spend time with any of you that have attended today. It's nice to see so many people attending, so we do appreciate it. And if you'd like a more detailed presentation, more than again, happy to do that. We can deep dive into key areas of your business. And also, if you'd like to, we are also able to actually take a subset of example data from you and actually put that into the demonstration system for you to actually see something meaningful with your data. We love doing that. We love working with people. And as a business, we're a very friendly bunch. So we'd love to hear from you and speak to you again. And hopefully this has been useful. This will be published on social media, so you can rewatch this if you wish. But I do encourage anybody on today to get in touch. We will be in touch as well. So thanks again for your time. Look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you.